Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, after our 1 week break that we took, it's been more like 3 or 4 for us. We are reading Elantris chapters 36 through 41. So 6 chapters this time, wherein a lot of stuff happens. Hrathen exits Elantris finally, which we spent the previous 2 chapters teasing that fact. Raoden learns a little bit more about what's happening to him, and maybe he's not quite as bad at dealing with the pain as everyone thinks. Sarene almost has a wedding again. I think that's 2 almost weddings, but things take a turn. She gets thrown into Elantris and meets up with Spirit and Co. and finds out a little more about what really is going on in Elantris, at least as much as any of us know at this point, right? So I am Data, and with me is
Jamie,
Joe,
and Dak.
So hang on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Feed the fire, set me free in this city of dreams. Push my mind into overload. Hack the wire, smash the gene in this city of dreams. We'll be immortal in the code. Mind into overload.
So yeah, it's been a while. I hope you guys hadn't forgotten everything that we read before. What did you think of this big old chunk, 6 chapters that we read this time?
yeah, so it was good to get back into it. It has been a really long time. It does feel a bit like a lifetime has passed. And I'd sort of forgotten where we were up to, so I sort of just skimmed the last chapter that we read. I should apologise. I have an awake baby with me who's feeling particularly chatty and against sleeping. Sleeping is for the weak, so I do apologise if she starts
Not again.
having chat. Yeah, she's finding herself absolutely hilarious this morning. So she slept for an hour yesterday across a 14-hour period. So apologies. Okay, yeah, so I had to sort of reread where we were up to, and I'd sort of forgotten that Hrathen had just been cured. So that was a good place to pick up from, and I'm glad we got that chapter when we first came in of finally having Hrathen's viewpoint. And yes, I'm glad we were mimicking Elantrian problems, not magically being converted back. So that was pretty good. I did not expect, I know we've spoken about who else he might have poisoned and stuff, and I think Serene's name got thrown around, but I didn't expect it to happen there and so rapidly. It was like, whoa, it was a real wow moment, and I quite enjoyed it. But I'm glad that we sort of know she's been poisoned up front. We know that it takes 5 days, so we know that that's coming as well. She's not going to be in there too long. And cool to learn a little bit about Raoden's glowing as well, that there is something a bit different going on with him than there is for anybody else, which I'm excited to know a little bit more about. And, you know, is that because of his Aeon magic that he's working through, or is that because he became an Elantri in a different way, maybe, or we don't know. So, yeah, really good read. I enjoyed the chapters. It was good to sort of check back in with everybody again. And, yeah, looking forward to seeing what's coming up next, because we really don't have that much longer to go. So I think things are going to happen, really, particularly with Tio and Arelon, and, you know, maybe we've got a bit of a war going on coming up soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think after this episode we have 4 more. So yeah, it's not a whole lot left.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, and you make a good point about, like, we know, like, Serene's in now, but we know that there's a time limit. There's a ticking clock on how long she's going to be in there. So you wonder, like, what all can go horribly wrong while she's gone for 5 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, these chapters, I agree with Jamie. It was good to kind of get Hrathen's perspective, so we kind of remembered, for us at least, we remembered what's going on. He gets better, and I find it really interesting, the part where Hrathen goes back to the chapel, and I guess Dilloff was going through his stuff, but Dilloff did not discover the Seon. And so then, you know, that got me to thinking, oh yeah, Sarene has a Seon, and that is addressed. So that was definitely, I'm definitely glad we got to the part where they actually addressed that. Like, yeah, her Seon's not crazy. It hasn't gone mad. That, like, should be the proof, basically, that she's not actually been taken by the Sheod, because her Seon hasn't gone mad.
Pretty big difference, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I guess she just hasn't put that together, and they're just kind of shrugging their shoulders, like, yeah, this is weird. I don't know. I'm fine. And so that was a little strange. I'm disappointed that Raoden didn't just tell her who he is now. Because really, what does he have to lose at this point? Like, as far as he knows, she's here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So really, what is there to lose by telling her who he really is? So I'm just a little confused as to why he chose to lie and say he was somebody else. But yeah, overall, these chapters were good. I'm glad that it feels like things are the wheels finally starting to turn. Maybe we'll just keep picking up speed, which would be nice.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way about the Rayoden thing. Although honestly, I felt that way to some extent from when they first came into Elantris and like his friends and Sarene were all there, and I was just like, why are you not telling them? I mean, okay, maybe you got a couple of excuses, but I feel like there's not really a big reason not to, and now there's even less reason. It's just it feels like one of those keeping secrets for the sake of this drama of the story type things, but you know.
Well, and I think at first he was sad that none of them recognized him, and so he didn't want to, at a certain level, you have to think they don't know, or Rayoden doesn't know that there was a funeral for him, and that no one but his family knew that he was taken by the Shayad or his dad or whoever.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
So you have to think maybe he's kind of sore about it. Like, you're not even interested in looking for me, and you definitely don't recognize me. And he probably didn't also want to be like, hey guys, it's me, because that would be probably awkward and painful. And he was trying to use his alter ego in order to get somewhere. And, if word got back to his dad that he was telling people that he was in there, then that probably would have been good. But yeah, I was disappointed. I'm just like, really? I mean, she's there with you now. You might as well tell her.
Yeah, these chapters are, I agree with Joe. I think the wheels are finally starting to turn, things are heating up where you're really getting into the meat of it now. So I guess with only 4 episodes left to go, that was kind of inevitable. But yeah, no, a lot happened. Absolute power move by Braithen to get Sarene spiked right in the middle of her wedding, or at least that's when it would take effect. So
yeah, how crazy is that? Jeez.
Because you think about all the other people aside from Braithen himself, anyone else who was taken by the Shayad, it was kind of just could have happened overnight, and it was always hushed up. It wasn't until Braithen and now Sarene that it's happened in view of everyone and became a public spectacle, which is just seems like it's broken some sort of taboo, even though no one really had any control over it. So that was just, really, really shocking moment. Iadon's little, fuck you from beyond the grave with his will and how the kingdom works now. It's oh, you smart son of a bitch. Yeah, okay. Absolute ballsy move. And I could never stand the guy, but I respect the audacity of that little move. Okay, cool. You had an ace in your sleeve, sort of, I guess. So that was that was interesting. It was I liked picking that apart. And now Sarene's in Elantris, and I can't wait to see where things go from there, especially with Aish, obviously still intact, and Braithen knows that there's a limit on this thing, and he knows how long that is, so he's got to have his own plans to go ahead as well for that. Mm-hmm. So yeah. As far as the Rayoden not telling her who he is, honestly, I think that I'm getting the impression that he has the same sort of self-esteem issues that Sarene has, where he's constantly talking himself down and he's not as important. And maybe that's why he's not telling people who he is, because he doesn't want them to know that he is Prince Rayoden, because he thinks Prince Rayoden is a failure. And so he doesn't want other people to see that in him. I think ultimately he's the last few chapters, he seemed really down on himself as a person in the same way Sarene has. So maybe he's just hiding his identity because he's just I don't have to be the prince anymore. I can be someone who actually succeeds at things. Yeah, that might be me reading into it, but that's the impression I got. He just seems, he's really down on himself as a person. So maybe that's why he isn't telling anyone who he really is.
Yeah, we have noted some of that in the past, this kind of parallel thing that the two of them have going on. So maybe he'll cheer up a little bit after now, knowing that it's oh, what's happening to me isn't exactly the same as everyone else, and it's not just the pain, and I'm not good enough. I don't know.
Yeah, we shall see.
I guess so. Okay, I guess let's get into these chapters. So we start out with Braithen on his 5th day, and he's had nothing to drink for 5 days because he just assumes there's obviously going to be no water to be had here. So he's kind of in a bad state to the point where he starts having hallucinations, and then he starts to remember decor. our mystery monastery that we don't really know anything about yet. The hollow cells of the monastery screams echoing through the black stone hallways, solemn chanting.
Sorry, I'm usually not I can't even think of the word. I'm not super picky about pronunciation, but I always I heard it as Dakor. Like, it made it sound like more sinister, I feel like. What
Like
do we know?
Got it.
Do we know how it's pronounced?
I don't know that was in the pronunciation key because let me see. I'll check, but I don't know.
I mean, it's a place, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's most of the pronunciation stuff focuses on the Aeonic pronunciations, but that's a Fjordal word, so no, it doesn't.
I gotcha.
Interesting. Yes, I don't know. Dakor. There's bestial agony and chanting at the same time, and he remembers himself kneeling in a cell no larger than the closet, knowing that they would come for him.
If there's anything I love, it's bestial agony.
Okay.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, dinosaur erotica. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Man. Love me some dino DNA.
Oh my God. God, no.
I watched the movies that made us, and Jurassic Park was on that, and
that was a good episode.
It was enjoyable.
I keep meaning to watch some of that, and I've never gotten around to it.
You should. The Die Hard one's good.
I have heard that. Yet. But we find out, I don't know that we find out much more about Dakor here, except that he says they train demons. So, all right. Sure, that won't come into play anywhere in the rest of the book. And so at some point, his delirium kind of breaks for a bit, and he realizes, hey, he's healed. It finally wore off. He was beginning to think Fortin had forgotten to make it temporary. And so he stands up, he's all weak, and he's like, I'm still going to die if I don't get something in me soon. So he screams out, "Behold, witness the power and glory of Jadeath. I have been healed." And there's no one on the walls to hear it.
Is this thing on?
Oh, that sucks. He's like, wait, the guards are always there. Where are they? Like, this one moment that I need them.
I just love imagining him being like, "Behold!" And there's no one's hearing him.
The world of tomorrow. Shut up, Carl, or whatever that guy's name is. I forget.
That was Terry.
Terry.
Yep, definitely Terry.
He's like, oh crap. These guys never leave, except apparently they have. What am I going to do? I'm going to die. No one's here to open the door now. But it turns out that the captain of the guard and a few dudes were outside the door and managed to hear him screaming through the thick oak door. Or wood. I don't know what kind of wood it is.
They've opened the door just to go, yo, keep it down in there.
Shut up in there. Yeah, so they open the door and they're like, oh, holy shit, Zap Brannigan's like, you have been healed. And Horathan's like, yeah, Lord Jadeath. Duh, obviously.
I forgot we were calling that guy Zap Brannigan.
Yeah.
And he turns around as they are letting him out, and he's like, enjoy your damnation, you freaking Elantrians.
basically throwing a petty middle finger at them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Elantris, 1 star, would not do it.
Worst Airbnb ever. And so Horathan's like, so why are none of your people here? And he's like, oh, well, they're all protecting the new king. He's like, wait, new king? What? Oh, you've missed a lot, man. Yeah, Lord Telry rules now. Or at least he will when Iodon's funeral is over. And Horathan's like, holy shit, how did I miss so much stuff in 5 days? It really does seem like a lot happened in the 5 days since he went in here.
Yeah, good old Zap's like, baby, it'll blow your mind.
Oh, gosh. He's like, okay, fine. You can explain to me on the way to the chapel. And so he's just like, oh, no, I'm going to walk. And people are going to see and they're going to follow. Like, everyone's going to be like, holy crap, look at him. He's healed. And so he gathers a big crowd on his way to the chapel. And then he starts yelling out like, hey, everyone, check it out. Know ye this day who is master. Lord Jadeath is the only God. Here's the proof. Which we talked about this before. Like, it's pretty convincing for these people who, for 10 years, this only worked one way. You went into Elantris, you did not come back out, and here's a guy who has been healed. So it's hard not to be convinced. And he gets back, strolls into the chapel, and strolls up to the chapel, and there's Dilloff, like, holy crap.
Like, holy crap, you're back, or holy crap, I've been rummaging through your stuff. You're going to find out.
Maybe a little bit of both, right?
Uh-oh, I stole his Jadeth parchment. Oh, crap. Oh, crap.
Oh man, I stole his stationery that said from the desk of Bjorn Hrathen. He's gonna want that back.
Oh no, he's gonna find out I've been sleeping with his Seon box like a teddy bear.
Ugh, it's a little bit weird. But I think Dilloff tries to play it off. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I doubted you. I thought that Lord Jadith had cursed you for incompetence, but now that I see that your faith is..." That's such a nag. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's like I apologize for everything, but I'm still just gonna tell you you're kind of a dick.
Oh my god. And then he's like, Raiden's like, "Yeah, okay, I accept that apology, that super half-assed apology, and just have more faith in the future."
I just love the bit where it's like, your apology is accepted. He's trying to keep the fatigue from his voice. He's just like, I still have to fucking deal with you. God damn it.
Yeah, and really, he's just like, he can tell that as Dilloff moves off, that his look is still not respectful enough. He seems more confused than anything, and he's like, "I'm too tired to worry about him at this point. I'm just going to go." And so he gets to his room, and all his shit is just thrown in the corner, piled up as if waiting to be hauled away. And he finds the box that his Seon is in, or the trunk. The lock has been broken open, and he pulls out the steel box from inside, which is covered with scrapes and scratches and dents. Somebody's been really trying hard to get this open. Like, the levers are bent, the dial's stuck.
Ugh, deal with this all the time at work. People don't know how to open their safe. Try and get it open.
I can imagine. Yeah, that probably makes it worse.
He's like, yeah, well, I mean, I shot the lock, but that didn't work. So, that's when the bullet ricocheted, hit me in the leg. That's why I got these crutches. So, can you get it open?
I did that.
That's gonna cost extra, buddy.
For bullet holes. Yeah, it is. I did not shooting it in things, but I had a computer once and I had to open up for some reason. I cannot recall if I was putting something in or taking something out or what the deal was, but I could not figure out how to get it open. Like, eventually it turned out that it was a super simple thing. Like, you pull this thing and it just slides off, but I could not figure it out. And I was just like, screw it. And I just like bent it open and kind of ripped the thing off.
Oh, jeez.
Which, yeah, long term, that wasn't the best, but I got in there, and then once I could see the inside, I could see where, okay, so if that slides, then it would have opened, and here's where, yeah, that was just a big thing right there that I should have seen. Oh, well.
Oh, no, I voided the warranty.
Yeah, no doubt. But he gets the box open, and the Seon pops out, and he's like, "So has anyone opened this box since I last spoke to you?" And the Seon says no, and he says, "Good," and that's the end of it.
Also, he's got his potions there. He's Elantrian making potions. Like, he had 3 left over, but 2 of them are busted. So.
Oh, yep.
So he doesn't have any more now that he spikes Sarene. That's it.
That is good to know for our purposes, unless he orders more from Fortin.
He did
unless
only
he scoops it up out of the box.
We just
Well,
cut
true.
the box and pour some out, yeah. But he wakes up and he calls forth one of his people, and he's like, "You were trained at Wrathborn, right?" And the guy's like, "Oh yeah." He says, "Good. I have need of your special skills." And the guy's like, "Oh, sweet. Who's it for?" Like, that's the assassin school. So this dude is just he's ready to go. And I don't know, what did you guys think at this point? Like, did you realize what was going on, or do you think he's actually gonna have him kill somebody? Or
I
I
was
wasn't-
expecting him to kill.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure because, he just looked at the potions. So I that kind of was a thought, but I was like, well, maybe he's gonna use the potion later, and right now he's gonna have him kill somebody.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
fair enough.
It's like, there's an interesting little note here as well. It's like, I don't know if we knew this. Like, Hrathen got kicked out of Darkor, or like couldn't hack it at Darkor and went to Garjan Monastery instead.
I don't think it told us where he went, but I'm pretty sure it did tell us that he left early, basically, from Decor.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I just don't know if they told us that, like,
Yeah.
why. If it was he actually, it was too much for him. He couldn't do it there, or he just left early because, like, he had to leave early for some reason. So
I think it did say in the chapter that where he was sent, and it was because he couldn't cut it. I think was the
okay.
phrasing used, like he couldn't cut it in Dakar.
Yeah, that's what it says here. I just wasn't sure if that came up earlier.
Place is pretty messed up. I know.
Yeah, he's not fit to be a demon.
Yeah, apparently not. From the brief description we've gotten so far, I'm like, no, that place sucks. You were smart getting out when you did. I don't want to be in a closet room with screaming down the hall and shit. Fuck that.
Nah, that doesn't seem good for anybody.
No.
So that we start out Raoden's chapter with it's hitting him, the pain, and he's like screaming, and it's not fun. And it's very descriptive of stuff that doesn't really make that much. It's like it says he felt it, this enormous slick surface without crack or cavity in the back of his mind. And it's getting very, very like, I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of is. It's very illustrative of something that's hard to illustrate.
It's descriptive.
Yeah. So
They're
I guess
painting a word picture.
exactly. Yeah. So he's feeling the door basically. And when he kind of comes to, Galadon and Karada are there, and Galadon's like, "Holy crap! What was that? What's going on?" And Raoden's like, "I'm fine, man. It's fine." And Galadon says, "What happened?" And he goes, "Well, it was the pain. It was just too much for me for a minute. I'm fine. It's retreated." And Galadon's like, "What do you mean?" You know, the pain from my cuts and bruises and stuff. The thing we all have here in Elantris. And Galadon's like, "That's not. It doesn't come in waves and recede. It's always the same."
That's not how the Force works.
I love the part where Galadon gets to. It's like, nah, dog, you were glowing. This is something else.
Yeah, Raoden's just insisting. He's like, "No, this is how it works for me. I mean, it's, that's just the way it is." And Galadon's like, "Well, not only have you not accumulated enough stuff, but Karada's like, 'My prince, you were glowing.'" And Galadon's like, "Wait a second, what? I was doing who?" And Galadon's like, "Yeah, I mean," I like the way Galadon says it. Like, Karada, that's pretty much the first thing she says. It's like, "Dude, you were glowing." And Galadon, when Raoden says what, Galadon's like, "Well, yeah, like after you left, you began glowing like an Aeon," as if like he didn't bring it up earlier in the conversation. It's just an afterthought. Like, "Oh yeah, she's right, you were glowing."
He's worried. He's worried about his buddy. He's like, "Are you all
Yeah.
right?" I think that's a perfectly fine place to lead with.
Yeah, that's fair.
Has he been glowing this whole time? Or is
Yeah,
this
maybe
a
it's
development?
a good question. Maybe I don't know if he's been around anyone else when he has had these attacks before, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. It seemed like it's intensifying, at least. I mean, of course, it doesn't describe it here in this part, but later when Sarene's holding him and it happens, it feels like it's more intense than this time, maybe? I don't know.
I feel like he
Yeah.
says at that time, like it's been happening like more and more, so it's more often at least, which I don't know. It's hard to say what's going on with this dude. And Raoden's like, "It's like the door is trying to come through me. Why me?" And Galen's like, "Well, some people are closer to the door than others. So in Elantris, some could create more powerful Aeons and seemed more intimate with the power." And Karada's like, "Wait, and also you practice with the Aeons constantly, so," which gets Raoden thinking. Like they said that, like the most powerful Elantrians were the first to fall during the Raod. Like they didn't even fight when the mobs burned them. And Galen's like, almost as if they were overwhelmed by something. So maybe there's a relation here. We still don't know for sure, but
Of course, our main character is going to have the highest midichlorian count.
right, obviously.
Yeah.
The effort of going Super Saiyan is slowly killing him.
On the other hand, and then Galen's like, "Well, maybe it'll be fine. I mean, the Gjorn got healed. Maybe, something's changing." And Raoden's kind of doubtful. Like, yeah, I mean, if he was healed.
He's like, "Look, man, I seen some shit. That guy wasn't healed. Something else going on."
Raoden thinks that maybe Viking Pope arranged for him to be, like, removed from the city to prevent the shame of what happened.
I like how it's kind of almost sad at this point because Galadon, the Duladel who hates the Fjordal Empire, is like wanting to believe that the Fjordal god healed him. It's like for that hope, he's willing to turn away the hatred that he had for those people to be like, well, maybe there's something to good old Jadeth.
Right? It's like, if that's what it takes, then I'm in. I don't like these dudes, but I don't like being Elantrian even more, so go Jadeth, maybe? There's an interesting note in the annotations here where he's like, "Another nod of thanks to my thesis committee for their suggestion in this chapter. In the original version, they never discuss Hrathen being healed in this chapter. It's not even mentioned. And so the committee's like, I mean, they would be talking about this, right? Like, you can't just not have them say anything."
Considering like that's how their last chapter ended.
Exactly, yeah. Good for having a committee review your work, I guess. And then that's pretty much the end of this chapter. That's a pretty short one. We've moved into a section of the book where less is happening in Raoden's chapter for a couple chapters. So then we move to Sarene, who is watching Hrathen as his crowds get bigger and bigger, and she's not super happy about it. She's sitting here like, it must have been a trick. And Luke was like, well, yeah, of course. If we thought otherwise, we may as well join Shootereth, right? And personally, I look horrible in red. And Serene's like, yeah, your face is too pink. Which was all right.
It's like, okay, rude.
And it's like, now that comment, knowing what's about to happen to her and the colors she's given.
Oh
as
my
well.
gosh. I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious. But no, Shuden is the only one who's like, maybe it wasn't a trick. I mean, why wouldn't his god help him? Religious exclusivism is a Karathi and Darathi addition to Shu Keseg.
They're trying to offer explanations, and Luke will suggest, oh, maybe the priests were in on it. And Shuden goes, oh, have you ever tried to bribing one of those? And Luke was like, I'm not going to answer that.
No comment.
I just want to know, okay, what the hell happened there?
Right?
Is this how he got that sour melon trade?
Ooh, he's bribing. Well, no, that implies that like the bribe was unsuccessful though. So
Yeah, okay.
and then like we get to the end of the section and they're done talking and then Luke was like, "What do you mean my face is too pink?" He asked in a hurt tone. Oh goodness. And then we meet the patriarch of Shu Keseg. Sarene and Shuden and Lukel and Eondel have gone to the boat to meet up with him.
Gilderoy Lockhart the priest. We get it.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Were we hoping that he would be the dude?
Yeah, he was going to be hippie pope.
This guy's very undude-like.
No, he's definitely not his dudeness or El Duderino
Very
if you're not into the whole brevity
undude.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This dude
it's
does not
definitely a
abide.
bummer. Yeah. He's like a if to make another comparison for my Final Fantasy fans out there, he's like an uncool, not even devious Seymour from
Seymour,
Final
that's
Fantasy
exactly
10.
who I was thinking of. Yep.
Yeah, it's just he's not quite there.
Maester Seymour. Yeah. So Sanderlanche, I guess is his name, and he's coming up. He's like, "Oh, Your Highness, it's been too long since my old eyes beheld your sweet features." And Sarene is like, yeah. This guy is not very old actually, but he's always trying to make himself seem more aged and wise than he really was. And she says, "All Verelon is blessed by your presence," and he nods as if to say he understands just how fortunate they are. There's a note in the annotations where it says, in the original draft, when she says "All Verelon is blessed by your presence," he says, "I know." And his editor thought that was a little bit overdone, so he cut it.
Aw.
It's like Patriarch. I'm a big fan. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you be? Yeah, exactly.
Actually, no. The guard captain isn't Zap Brannigan. This guy is Zap Brannigan.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
Come, you may show me to my lodgings now.
But Brandon says, in my mind, the patriarch is overdone in cliche. So, like,
Sure.
that was a good thing. It's part of his character.
I mean, his name is the Patriarch. Hello, patriarchy so overdone.
Oh, man. So, anyways, Sanderlanche is disappointed because only barons and counts have arrived. And she's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Duke Royal, he was going to come, but he's busy getting the king's funeral ready. And he says, Sanderlanche says, his luxurious hair waving in the sea wind. It's just so, oh, gosh.
Certainly something. I bet that's a wig.
Yeah, he's like, show me to your lodgings. And then we cut to Lukel later, and he's disappointed. And Serene's like, what do you mean? Well, like, he's not what you expected. And Shuden's like, no. After how you talked about him, Lukel was really hoping it would be more entertaining. And she's like, just because I don't like him doesn't mean that I'm going to make a scene. I was one of Father's chief diplomats, remember? And Shuden's like, yeah, by the way, your analysis of the patriarch's personality seems to be accurate. Don't know how that guy got chosen. And it turns out that Viking Pope is super young and apparently very handsome, they say. So when it came time for Shu Keseg to get themselves a new leader, they're like, Shu Keseg is the other one. Shu Korath.
Dareth? Korath.
Yeah. No, yeah, Dareth is Viking Pope. So when Shu Korath had to choose their new leader, they're like, we want someone just as young as him, if not younger. Show how hip we are.
Makes no sense.
No.
I just want to. I just imagine a bunch of old, it giving me like Catholic vibes. A bunch of old cardinals sitting around a table discussing, and then they're just like, "We want the new guy to be sexy, sexy, damn it!
We
Just
need to
as
appeal.
sexy as that Jadeth guy."
We need to appeal to the young people and their TikToks and their urban dictionaries.
That's right. Those damn TikTokers. I don't know what they find so fascinating about clocks anyway.
But yeah, she says that Wolfden is said to be one of the most handsome men to ever take the throne, and the Karathi leaders wanted someone equally impressive. And Lugal snorts and is like, okay, look, handsome and pretty are different things. Half the women who see this guy will love him, and the other half will just be jealous of him. He's too pretty. And the whole time, Eandel's like in the corner, just getting paler and paler, like, oh my gosh, you can't talk about the Pope like this. And she's like, I'm sorry, Eandel, we'll try to be more respectful. Not like his looks are important anyway. I'm more curious why he came. And everyone is curious about why he came, I think. We're going to find out. So this part at least answers one of our questions about what happened with Eshen. It says the king has no obvious heir, and Eshen was left completely unhinged by her husband's disgrace and death.
Perfect excuse for no one to be looking at her while she bides her time to plant the knife in everyone's back.
Oh, that Eshen.
She's pretending to be crazy like a fox.
Eshen's the one who brought down Elantris. It all fits somehow.
Oh, gosh. But yeah, so apparently Omen has requested that they not use the Karathi chapel for the funeral after what Iadon did. So they have it in the throne room instead, which is the same place they're going to have her wedding. So that's a thing that's happening.
Can you at least move the coffin out of here before we start?
Right?
Yeah, were they going to have their wedding straight after the funeral?
Yeah. Like, that's some timing. Like, it points out that Royal he went ahead and just bought decorations that were good for a funeral or wedding. Like, why waste money on extra flowers?
He's a frugal guy, that Royal.
Yeah. So she walks in and all the nobles are kind of like, it says they now regard her with something akin to awe, manipulated the king, made a fool of the king, toppled him from his throne. And remember, it's been like 2 months since she showed up, if that. So, was it like 5 weeks or something the last time we heard? So it's not been. She accomplished all this very quickly. She sees Telri there, and he does not seem as frustrated as she thought he would be. So I wonder if Telri knows anything about what's going to happen. Maybe Hrathen and him have had some talks.
I mean, they say that later in the chapter.
Oh, did they?
They did.
Remember.
Yeah, Hrathen, like after she's taken away, from Hrathen's perspective, it's like, I told that Telri his patience would be rewarded if he didn't try to stop the wedding.
Yeah, that sounds familiar now. So Royal gets up to talk about Iadon, and it's a weird funeral because he ends his speech by being like, so let's just not speak ill of the dead, okay? I mean, Domi will see to his soul. That's not our business. I don't think I've ever been to a funeral that ended like that, so...
Well, I don't think you've been to a funeral of a guy that sacrificed humans.
Okay, fair point.
All right, everyone. We all know why we're here. Iadon was a shit king, and he got naked and killed people. Look, we all make mistakes in our youth.
We all make mistakes.
So let's just try not to think about it. Just be happy that he's gone without cursing him openly. How's that sound?
Just everybody be cool. Just this isn't what Domi wants. Everybody just smoke another J and let's all calm down.
Oh no, see, Dude Pope is not here, or else he would have said that.
No, I feel like Royal is the dude.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Except he's really, really frugal.
And old.
Well, the dude was
dude was kind of old.
Didn't the dude use a check to pay for milk?
That doesn't mean he was frugal. That means he's poor.
Yeah, he was just broke.
Yeah.
He had no job that we could ever tell.
Yeah, no. And somehow he continued to afford to go bowling, which, in the early 90s, not an expensive hobby, but still.
Donnie was fronting that.
You think so?
When they all have to, Donnie had the most money when they all had to pull cash out of their pockets, but it wasn't by that much.
No.
I think the dude had $4, and Donnie's like, I've got 16.
I feel like Donnie was, and they never say this, but I feel like Donnie was on disability or something.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, I don't know. We never found out because anytime he tried to talk about anything, Walter would tell him to shut up.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true. But in fairness, he was out of his element.
Yeah. I am the walrus. Yeah, he said that a bunch.
Not John Lennon.
Oh gosh. But yeah, so after Royal gives his eulogy, Pretty Pope, I don't know what we want to call this guy exactly. Sinelan is an annoying name. But he kind of pops up. He's like, "Can I say something?" And they're like, well, yeah. Go
No.
for it. No. It's like, no, Your Holiness. You shut up and sit down.
This man didn't practice your religion. We found that out. That's how he died.
No shit.
Yeah. They're just like, hey, why don't you take a vow of silence and shut up?
Oh, gosh. See, that's the kind of thing that Luke expected Sarene to say when this dude showed up. But
Yeah, didn't
he
happen,
was
unfortunately.
disappointed. Yeah.
That would have been good.
So we found out 10 years ago, Idon came to this guy and left him this thing to be read either after his death or 15 years after its creation, whichever came first. And basically it says, up till now, we've had this whole thing where, the richer you are, the more noble you are. As of right now, that's gone. All noble ranks are now frozen and will be handed down from generation to generation, just like other countries do it. Here's a new set of rules patterned after what they use in Teod for all that. And Royal's like, oh my gosh, he knew. He knew the system wouldn't last, but he wanted it to be that way. He wanted everyone at each other's throats so that only the strongest or most treacherous would survive. So he wasn't a complete idiot. He was just most of an idiot, I guess. Maybe.
He wasn't an idiot. He was just an asshole.
Yeah. Well, Sarene points out a lot when they're trying to overthrow him. It's like his system has just fucked up this country and like made things worse. So he was not like a competent ruler.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know that this fixes that much, but maybe a little bit. And Shuden's like, okay, so does this change our plans? And Royal's like, no, actually, this makes it better because Sarene will now be like the continuation of this house. So it'll make our claim to the throne all the stronger because none of the nobility will try to oppose it now. This is what they all want, is stable titles. And so if they try to like overthrow that immediately, it'll be putting their own status into question. And I guess Eandel soldiers are the ones who are carrying the casket out. So no buddies to be pallbearers for old King Iadon.
Well, Royal was his closest friend, but Royal will probably say, look, man, I'm going to throw my back out doing that. So
right? I got to get married in a little bit. So what can I tell you?
All right, get that corpse out of here. I need to get married.
So yeah, they go out, they watch the coffin be put into the ground and dirt thrown on top. And then they kind of turn around and they're like, okay, it's time to get ready. And so we get Sarene preparing herself in the Karathi chapel. Draped head to foot in white. The dress is very high-necked, long sleeves, white gloves. And I don't know if anyone caught on to this, but this is totally preparing you for the fact that no one will notice that she's changed until she raises the veil because no one can see her skin.
Yep.
I didn't think about that.
And she sits there and she's praying and she's Domi had answered her prayers and delivered her husband, just not quite what she had expected. Maybe I should have been a little more specific. Oh, man. And she ends her prayer by just saying, please let us be happy. So that's nice. Her female attendants are waiting for her. Casey gets to be one of them. It says looking very solemn in her little white dress. And Royal, when they walk into the throne room, is wearing a white suit. So it's a very white affair. Little Father Omen is going to do the wedding, and Sanderlanche is standing off to the side, kind of annoyed that he wasn't asked to officiate this wedding.
Who would you rather officiate, Uncle Iroh or Zap Brannigan?
Right? Yeah, it's not a tough choice. Even the Gjorn had showed up, so that's nice. Hrathen wants to go to the wedding.
We all know why he's there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we do now.
It's like, did you bring a present, Hrathen? Maybe set of knives or something.
Lord Jadeth says no.
And she's like, why is this guy not more upset? This is like throwing his plans all out of whack. She gets up there, raises her veil, and everyone starts screaming.
The stuff of nightmares. Like,
oh gosh, yeah.
How many brides before they get married have terrible dreams about their hair falling out or something? Oh my god.
Which, yeah, that happens. She pulls off her veil and her hair goes with it, and she's like, what the Royal is stunned, Sanderlanche outraged, and even Omen is clutching his Karathi pendant in shock. She looks at one of the mirrors and sees that she has become an Elantrian. So yeah, you get up there, your wedding's about to happen, and you're a zombie. I'm sure every bride has that same nightmare.
Yep.
Everyone's worried about zombies. And Hrathen's just back there like, such are the judgments of holy Jadeth. And we get from Hrathen's perspective everyone's reactions. Like Royal is just sitting there, head in his hands, while Shuden is like, looks like he's going to go and demand her release. And Eandel is crying openly in the middle of the room. even Hrathen is like, he's surprised that he does not take any more joy from what just happened. Why was he bothered that no one had shed tears at his own fall? You know, that's what happens when you're kind of a jerk. I don't know what to tell you, man. So Royal will not be crowned king. He no longer has the blood ties, and he's still not richer than Telri. So this time death was not the same as marriage, so he doesn't inherit all her money, which in hindsight might have been something to put in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's bad oversight, but he was trying to do something for her and didn't work out.
Yeah, nope. So there you go. Telri had received Hrathen's message and had not acted against the wedding, and now his faith would be rewarded. The conquest of Erelon was almost complete. So things have really taken a turn in Hrathen's favor at this point in this section of chapters. He triumphantly returns from Elantris, and his biggest competition is now heading into Elantris.
So I guess he's banking on her being destroyed somehow in Elantris. I don't see what his long game is here, right? Because he knows that she's going to recover from it, and she could just as easily claim that Shukorath healed her. So I don't really get what he thinks. Like, he's just going to consolidate power quickly enough that 5 days is going to be enough. Which, I mean, I guess we have proven 5 days is a lot of time.
Yeah.
But he's going to consolidate power that quickly and make it to where there's nothing she can do once she gets out. I just don't see the long game.
I mean, if you actually get Telri on the throne, then at that point it's probably much harder to get him off of it than just like intercepting him to get yourself there first. There's a big difference between the two. So maybe 5 days is what he needs.
Now that will has been read, it's like, well, yeah, Telri's on now, and he's there. Like,
I guess that's true, but it's like at the same time, Shukorath, if she claimed that it was, I mean, I guess he could say, no, Jadith healed her. I prayed for our dear princess, and because, she's such a wonderful person, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't see it playing, like, this is not a master plan, at least not yet. Like, this guy's not, Hrathen's no Batman. He hasn't thought that many steps ahead that I can see. So I just see this backfiring on him.
I think I have an inkling, but I'll save for predicaments.
Okay. Sorry, Jamie, what were you saying?
I would say he just needs her out of the way long enough to get the right people where they need to be. And yeah, I don't think he's banking on her being in there forever. Or maybe he'll be like, okay, Telri says that no one comes out. I don't know.
That could happen, yeah.
Maybe that she will be like attacked or taken or something straight away. She won't last because she's weaker than him or something.
That could also be true. Because he doesn't know anything about what's really going on in there. And really, that kind of speaks to everyone who's so concerned about, or kind of like, well, I expected more from Hrathen going in here, and like he would meet the Elantrians and learn what's going on. But if he had, then he might not have been as ready to do this to her.
True.
So there's that. But I think from the beginning, his approach has been, let's get a Dorethi person on the throne, and once you've converted the king, the nation is just a matter of time after that.
Yeah.
Because most of his thing has been like, I mean, he's been trying to get like groundswell support also, but he's been working on getting Telri on the throne this whole time. Like, that's been his thing. He started off by being like, hey, Iadon, maybe you need to convert. And when he said no, he's like, okay, now I can overthrow him and put somebody else on there. Okay, sorry. We cut to Raoden, and they're looking up at the top of the walls, and they're like, there's got to be a way up there. Because honestly, I mean, they built these big steps on the outside. They must have made a way to get up from the inside, right? That's kind of his logic. It's like the walls weren't made to keep people in or out. And he's also bothered by the fact that the guards have disappeared, because he has no idea what's going on the outside. So all he knows is all of a sudden this guard force has always been very, very diligent about showing themselves off, how important they were guarding Elantris. They're all gone. So that is worrying. He's thinking, has the East finally invaded? Like, or is there a war going on out there? And he knows if Erelon falls, then Viking Pope is not going to let Elantris stand there. They're going to kill everybody. Then Galadon spots a place. He's like, there's where we can get up. So they head over there. But before they have gotten too far, a messenger shows up and is like, hey, a newcomer's been thrown into the city. And they're like, yeah, okay, the walls will wait. We can go meet the new people. The newcomer turned out to be a she, and feistier, Daisy says, than your normal newcomer. She screamed at the gate for a full 10 minutes after they threw her in and threw her offering basket against the wall. I believe that. And Raoden walks up. He's trying to be cheery. He's like, hey, I'm willing to guess you've had a bad day. And she turns around and he recognizes her immediately. And she's like, you don't know the half of it, dude. And then she's like, what, you here to steal my offering? And he's like, well, I mean, I can if you want me to, but we don't really need it. Someone gave us a bunch of food not too long ago. And she's like, I don't trust you anymore, Spirit. And he says, did you ever? And she says, I wanted to, but I knew that I shouldn't. He's like, well, then you never really gave me a chance, did you? Which I feel like we talked about that at the time, too. Like, she was really looking for excuses to not trust him, but she also turned out to be kind of right, so.
Yeah.
And once again, we had a very short Raoden chapter because, as he says in the annotations, it's much more interesting to see New Elantris from Sarene's perspective as she's discovering all of this. The scene where Raoden and Sarene meet on equal grounds is, I hope, something people have been waiting for. I intended the moment where Sarene lets Raoden take her hand to be a major event in the book. The phrase, for the first time, i.e. she took his hand for the first time, was added at my editor's suggestion. Personally, not as fond of it as I could be. My opinion is oftentimes making a passage shorter actually emphasizes it more. However, I wasn't so set against those 4 words that I insisted on not putting them in. So from Sarene's perspective, she's just like, oh, like the change is stupefying, it says, as she walks from the dirty, grimy Elantris across a line, and all of a sudden everything is beautiful and white, as if she'd stumbled into Domi's paradise. Floston paradise. And she's at first struck by all the amazingly colorful outfits people are walking around in, and then she realizes, oh, right, that was me.
My fault.
Oh, God, it's like watching a Baz Luhrmann movie.
Oh, goodness. So, yes, he's like, welcome to New Elantris. Everything you assumed is no longer valid. And she's like, yeah, I can see that. And Mare comes up, or Maari, or whatever. And she's like, I don't think we're going to have any.
From
from
the
Mistborn.
book.
Right, yeah. I don't think we're going to have
Origin
anything
story.
in her size, Lord Spirit. Because remember, Sarene is very tall and thin. And Spirit's like, yeah, well, do your best.
It would have been funny if like Raoden was like, you calling my fiance fat?
That would have been a way to break the news to her. Yeah, it's like, my wife is fat. What?
Also, excuse me, you made all this stuff. Go make her something that
Well, apparently they have just a bunch on the rack now, so you don't have to make them constantly. And Mare's very nice. She's like, yeah, okay, let's go see what we can find. They found a skirt, a blue skirt that shows her legs only up to mid-calf, so really it's not so bad. A bright red blouse and undergarments even, constructed from very bright materials. And she starts looking at herself in a mirror, and she's like, hey, it's not... Wait, where'd this mirror come from? And it turns out some of those thin sheets of metal that she gave them have been hammered around this rock or a stone table or something to make a mirror. It actually works remarkably well.
It's like this chapter is just a parade of it's like, where did you get this? Oh, I gave you this.
Yep. Oh, the same beat over and over.
It's just so satisfying.
It's like, oh, that was me. Why does it smell fishy? Oh.
Yeah.
What's that guy carving? Oh.
I like that they also have to get her men's shoes. And Mare's like, no, don't be embarrassed. Of course you have big feet. You got to have more to support how tall you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, right?
anything. You can just shut up and say,
Yeah, just stop talking. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like
This
Austin
one
Powers.
time-
Like, I get it. I have bad teeth.
This one time, my beautiful wife, lovely woman, she was wearing a cardigan that was cow print.
Okay.
And she said, how does this look? And I said, what I meant to say was, looks like you're wearing cow skin. But what I said was, you look like a cow.
Oh, that's not the right thing to say at all.
No, it definitely was not the right thing to say.
Oh, man.
it's a total
But, it was a very sitcom-y moment in my real life.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
It was at that moment he knew he screwed up.
Yeah, there should have been like a guy dressed as Abraham Lincoln. It's like, now you fucked up.
That's something you would have known it before she even said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good.
Oh my gosh. Cow print. Why you got cow print anyway? That's silly.
People are in Texas. They like cow print stuff.
Hmm.
I don't see the appeal of it, but some people.
Yeah. So,
Plus, all the cows that I've seen in Texas are like brown or black.
Yeah,
they're not like
not
that.
the
They're not like the
Holstein
white
black and
with
white, yeah.
the white with the brown spots or whatever.
They also give her a scarf for her head, a bright orange cloth scarf, and the lady's like, yeah, it helps us forget about not having hair. And she walks back out and tells Spirit, I feel like an insane rainbow. And one of the first things she thinks is like, oh man, he's tall enough for me. Which she's sizing him up almost unconsciously, like, hey, maybe we could work out.
It's like, my wedding just wrapped up, damn it.
Failed wedding number 2. Third time's the charm. Oh gosh. Yeah, he's like, you're just gonna have to get used to the idea. We have to get used to the idea that we all look like Seca birds in the spring. They don't bother you that much after you wear them for a while. It's fine.
Is Seca bird a real bird, or is it a
No, I don't think so.
made up bird?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they must be made up.
See, that really annoys me. It's like you got horses and bears and Seca birds, a thing I made up. Pick a lane.
But as they walk through New Elantris, she notes that everyone seems to really love this guy. And she's like, not even my dad, who's generally well liked, is this popular. Of course, he's also got a really small population here, so it's easier to be popular with people. And they pass by a dude carving toys for children. He carved a beautiful stone horse and gives it to a little girl who claps enthusiastically. And she's like, oh, hey, that's one of those bent nails that I sent you. And he's like, yeah, that was you got us on that one. Like, that was one of the hardest things that we've tried to find a use for. Like, we don't have enough fuel to melt them down. So it's like, what are we going to do with all these bent nails? And they start talking. He's like, you're right to be wary of me. I did betray you. I was a tyrant. And she's like, you're not a tyrant. The people here love you, and there cannot be tyranny where there is love. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but okay. And he says, I suppose the time during your trial wasn't a complete loss. I gained something very important during those weeks. And she says, the supplies, and he says that too. And I think Brandon notes in the annotations for this chapter, it's like, this is one of the cheesiest lines in the book, but he thought it was still fun.
Yep.
And then she's like, hey, who's that guy carving that horse? And he's like, oh, that's Tan. You might know him as Andon. She's like, the gang leader? Yeah, well, he used to be a sculptor and lost himself for a while when he came in here. So
Your roommate is malfunctioning Eddie, the car dealer?
Sounds better than Flexo. No, not Flexo, Roberto. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That's the roommate you don't want. Gotta practice my stabbing, Red. He takes her all around New Elantris, does not show her the Hall of the Fallen. He doesn't quite feel like doing that at the moment. So apparently she'd been locked away all night waiting for the time during the day when they throw New Elantrians in, because her wedding happened late in the afternoon. And she kept waiting for somebody to show up, Aish in particular, and nobody came. And she's trying to remember, like, when was the last time I saw them? I guess he must be, like, all messed up now, like the other Seance of people who go into Elantris. She smells the fish, and he's like, yeah, we got you on that one. We knew you'd send us rotten fish, so that's why we asked for this, to use as fertilizer. And she's like, oh, man, I was wrong to do all that to you. He's like, hey, don't you start. I'll lock you in a room with Galadon, and then you can learn what true pessimism is. And she's like, who's that? And he's like, oh, that big guy that you met at the gates. And she's like, the doula? I've never heard of a pessimistic doula. Yeah, no one has, apparently. Galadon's a special kind of dude. He takes her into that room where they started out early and they discovered it was a chapel, and she immediately recognizes it as a chapel. And he's like, how'd you do that? And she's like, well, I mean, the scenes carved around here are straight out of Do Korath, which I guess is their holy book or something. Someone didn't pay enough attention in chapel school. So she's figured out that he's some sort of nobleman, and he claims to be the second son of a minor lord from South Erelon. And then he starts glowing and falls down, and she's like, what the? And he screams, and we get what Brandon mentions in the annotation as the other finalist for cheesiest line, where when he wakes back up and sees her, he's like, when I opened my eyes, I thought that time I died for certain. Because he opens his eyes and sees her, and it's like, oh, I've gone to heaven, or something, so.
Yeah.
Or whatever their equivalent is. I don't know how it works for these people. And he goes, no, she says, should I get help? And he says, no, this is becoming a common occurrence. And she's like, wait, for everybody? He's like, no, just for me. I'm the only one the door is trying to destroy. And she's like, wait. What does Jesker have to do with this? He's like, oh, hey, you know a lot, huh?
He's like, oh, thank God Galadon isn't here to hear that one.
Well, no, I mean, he's the one who told him in the first place that the door is, like, from Jesker.
Yeah, but he was always really insulted. It's like, look, the Jeskeri don't have, like, the monopoly on the door, man.
Yeah. At least she didn't, bring up the mysteries. That's what really upsets him.
Yeah, that's true. I realized as soon as I said it.
And he's like, wow, you know a lot. And she goes, no, what I want to know is why a quote-unquote humble servant of Domi thinks the Jesker overspirit is trying to destroy him. He's like, well, it has to do with Aeon Door. And she's like, Aeon Door? That's just a legend. That's stupid. And he starts drawing an Aeon, and she's like, oh, damn, okay, I was wrong. Teach me about this. This is awesome. I feel like people should be recognizing more easily that Aeon Door and the door are associated in some way, but maybe that's just me.
Mm.
But then we cut directly to later that night. She's fallen asleep in a room. I guess she's got a room with a couple other ladies, and she's just like taking it all in, all the crap that's happened, how embarrassing all of this was. Her only consolation was that she'd probably never see any of them again. And that's when Aish finds her. And she's like, holy crap, Aish? And he's like, oh, blessed Domi, it is you. And she's like, wait, you'd never use the Lord's name. And he says, if he has brought me to you, then he has his first say on convert. Which that's sweet. And she's like, you shouldn't even be able to talk. You're supposed to be crazy. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I don't feel any different. And she says a miracle. And he's like, well, a wonder if nothing else. But maybe I should look into converting to Shu Korath.
Oh, man, I got to enter the chapel now.
Well, apparently Sinalon is the one who threw him out. So, and that's why she's like, Sinalon would never hear of it. Of course, his disapproval's never stopped us before, has it? And they get into a discussion where he's like, I was too late to see you get thrown in. And she's like, nah, you were actually too early. And she's like, come back tomorrow. And he's like, what do you mean come back? I'm not leaving you. And she's like, no, just trust me. I need you to go get news from Kay and let everyone know that I'm okay. And then come back. And he's like, okay, well, hold on. Your dad wants to talk to you. And her dad is furious that the patriarch didn't even try to get her let out. But she's like, now we have to be fair. If a peasant's daughter can be cast into Elantris, then a king's daughter shouldn't be the exception. And he's like, I'm coming to get you out of there.
Oh, hang on. You skipped over, if my reports are true, then no one should be thrown into that pit. Who has he got spying in Elantris? Is he also listening to the rumors?
Well, I mean, I feel like he's probably also heard the same stuff that she and Aish were getting from the guards about how horrible everything is in there.
Oh, okay.
Because anyone actually in Elantris would be able to tell him that's like things have changed recently. But yeah, he's like, I'm getting you out. And she's like, no, we can't do that. We can't send troops and alienate Erelon. And he's like, look, they're not even going to be our ally for long if my spies' predictions are accurate. So Duke Telri's consolidating power, and then he's going to take stuff. He's going to take the country. And they have a big argument, and she's like, I'm not leaving. And he's like, come on, you got to leave. You don't even – Erelon is not your home. Honestly, I think Sarene, I'm impressed by her determination here, because I would be like, yeah, no, please come get me out of here. This is even with nicer Elantris. Maybe it's just because she likes this dude, but I'd be like, no, I'm done. Let's go. And she's like, no, I have to stay here. They've become my people, and I have to stand with them and try to save them, and so on and so forth. And the king ends by telling Aish, you watch over and protect her. If she's injured, you will call me. And he's like, as I ever have and ever will, my king. And Eventio tells her, Sarene, I'm setting up the armada. Let your friends know any ship approaching Tio will be sunk without question. I can't risk the safety of my people. And they say goodnight, and that is the end of our section. So yeah, a lot of things happening. One big main thing, Sarene now getting thrown in, but let's do predicaments. What do you guys think? Where are we going?
Okay, predicaments. What do I predict? I had something before. What was it? Oh no. Oh my god, I forgot my predicament.
Maybe Joe goes and we come back to you.
Yeah, come back to me. Just come back to me. Oh, damn it.
All right. No worries. So I think I can't, it's, the audience, the listeners, it's been less time for them, but for me, it's been a while. I think I predicted that he might use the thing on Sarene. And
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
so
I don't remember.
I think multiple people thought it was a possibility.
Yeah, I think we all brought it up at some point.
Yeah. So again, like I said before, I'm kind of confused about what Crathan's long game is here. So I assume he's going to try to scramble and get Telri put on the throne ASAP. As far as the assassin, if he's going to use him for a different purpose, it would be cool if he had him try to assassinate Dilaf, but I don't know that that's going to happen. And so I predict, I would hope that given she's going to be in there for a few days, that Sarene would finally figure out that Spirit is Raiden. That is what I predict and hope will happen, because I feel like we've gone too long with this thing of her not knowing and him not telling her and all the rest of this. So I would hope and predict that will occur, and they will form, like I think I predicted in this a previous time. I hope they form some kind of alliance on the outside and the inside, because hopefully she is going to be able to go back out, and in doing so they will strengthen one another and all that good jazz. So that's what I predict will happen. As far as what's going on with Raiden, with like the door trying to push through him, I think Dak talked about this in the past, and we've kind of come to the conclusion that the door's like been opened through him because of his practicing of the Aeons and stuff, and it's probably just going to keep getting worse because something's blocking the flow. So maybe that's where we're going. Somehow they're going to figure out what's blocking the door and be able to help fix that, because obviously we know from secret history that these Elantrians are able to use the Aeons at some point. So I would imagine that's where we're going, just based on that. So that's my prediction.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know that we actually saw them use Aeons in secret history, did we?
Yeah, I don't know. They used some kind of magic.
They were definitely glowing.
Yeah.
And their stuff was glowing.
And their stuff was glowing. Yeah, the whole fortress was glowing. So. Okay.
And that obviously was like a weird mind. They were in the mind realm though, so maybe that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it could be completely separate.
That is true.
Okay.
I remembered my predicament.
I was about to ask. I was like, Jamie, did you get in there? Okay, go ahead.
So I was thinking. So we were talking about Sarene, and like Raiden hasn't announced like who he is or said who he is. Sarene is going to be the one who lets him know what's happened to his father. He didn't want any harm to come to his dad, even though like when he was sneaking in and stuff, he didn't want Karada to actually hurt him. So I think that's still going to probably hit him hard. Obviously, there's the realization that he's one, died, but two, that he was a pagan murderer.
Yeah, neither of those is fun. So yeah.
But then knowing sort of, I guess, more about what's happening on the outside and what's happening there, I think that's where Sarene and Raiden, he'll be truthful about who he is, and then that'll sort of tie into what Joe was saying about having that strengthened alliance on the outside. So they've only got 5 days theoretically to sort all of that out, and then get out and stop, I guess, whatever's happening, or Raiden can go, I'm alive, or Sarene and I are actually still married, or I don't know, because he's not dead, even though everyone thinks he's dead. I don't know if that changed in the contract, because when Iron died, I think she's now no longer wed to Raiden.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how. Well, we've talked about if it even counts, because Raiden didn't die, but he kind of died because he went into Elantris. So now they've both kind of died as far as anyone's concerned. So yeah, who knows?
It's a bit weird, but yeah, I think that's how he's going to find out about his dad anyway, and that will be the catalyst for whatever he's planning to do next.
Okay, that's reasonable. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about the fact that he doesn't know his dad is dead.
No.
Okay, so I think first I've got a couple here. So first and foremost, I think like Hrathen knows the deadline on Sarene, recovering is coming up. So I think his assassin buddy that he brought in had a twofold job. One was spiking her with the potion to make her look like an Elantrian, and the second half is to track her down in Elantris, like get in there somehow, find her and kill her so that she can't come back out all healed. Which I think that could be really cool, because he'll get the assassin will get into Elantris and realize I can't tell any of these people apart, and he winds up killing the wrong person, and that leads to Hrathen feeling secure in his position, only for Sarene to come out anyway, and you realize, oh shit, we got the wrong one. So I think that would just be a really cool little twist. The assassin's like, shit, which one is it? I don't know. So I think that would be an interesting little wrinkle for Hrathen's plans. Like, he's just feeling so secure in himself. He's got confirmation that his greatest enemy has been killed, and then it turns out, oh, the assassin just fucked up. So I think, I think that'll happen. I think ultimately Hrathen is going to fail somehow, whether Telri stabs him in the back or Sarene comes in and upsets his plans. Like, Hrathen's 3-month deadline will elapse without him having succeeded, and Wyrn will send through something from Darkor Monastery. I think one of these demons he's been hyping up is going to show its face, and we'll just be like, oh dear God. And then that will be the final conflict of the book. Yeah, so I think I feel like, we're hyping up Darkor and what comes out of there so much. Like, I think you actually said it earlier in this episode, like something has got to come from that. It's not just going to be like a bunch of vague background references to this thing. It's like we're going to have to see why Hrathen is so terrified.
Saving it all for the sequel.
And the other thing I had is like, this is just like, I'm really trying to get into Dilaf's head. We know that he's older than he thinks, than we think, or than we originally thought at least.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been around for a while, and he hates the Elantrians more than anyone else. I'm trying to crack why. I feel like his beef with Elantris is deeply, deeply personal, whether that was he had someone who the Elantrians refused to save, or whether he lived in Elantris at one point and like he wanted more than anything else to become an Elantrian and just never got taken, and over time that resentment like built up and turned him against them.
I thought that is what he said. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, he said that he's lived in Erelon and that like they saw them as gods or whatever, and then their gods fell and were ugly or something like that. He hasn't told us that he lived in Elantris.
There was some note where like someone at some point said he lived in one of the southern provinces and then came up to Elantris, but that could all be a lie. We don't know.
Yeah, he told us he was like the leader of a chapel in the south or something, and came up here and brought like his converts from that chapel with him. So by the time he claims that he came to Kay, that he was already long a follower of Shu-Dereth.
And that could be the truth. He could have like turned his back on Elantris, come down and taken up Shu-Dereth instead, and like had his monastery in the south and then come back for whatever reason. Like there could be partial truths hidden in there. I feel like this is also why he doesn't have any stock in Hrathen's recovery. Like he's not won over like the rest of them. Like in his head, Hrathen is still touched by Elantris in some way, so he still deserves his hatred. So I feel like, yeah, that's all got to come in play. We need to know more about him. Like there was that note that like he seemed to be aware of the 3-month deadline, so maybe he could be Wern's backup plan in case Hrathen fails. Like hell, maybe Dilaf is secretly from Darkhor Monastery. We don't know. But
well, apparently he's like an Araleen. I don't know that like Hrathen doesn't think that anyone not from Fjorden could rise very high in the ranks, so that might be tricky.
I mean, it could be, but the fact of the matter is we don't know what goes on in Darkhor. We don't know what their admissions process is like.
That's true.
If they get someone with the right skills, they may not care what country they're from. So, maybe Dilaf is just like that skilled and he hated the Elantrians so much. Wern's like, well, okay, we'll train this guy in Darkhor, make him into an absolute monster, and then get him ready when the time is right to deal with Elantris. Like we don't know. I really want to get inside Dilaf's head because there's still a lot to find out there. But ultimately this comes down to, I suspect his beef with Elantris is deeply, deeply personal, which is why he hates him so much and why he still doesn't trust Hrathen even after recovering.
Yeah, that level of hatred that he seems to have, kind of, I agree. It feels personal. It feels like not like an impersonal hatred.
Yeah, like this is not, these are demons who sinned against God, they deserve to be punished. It's like, no, these are people who sinned against me, and I want them to suffer.
I have one question for y'all that Dak kind of brought up the 3-month deadline, and it's like, I think he thinks that it's going to elapse and something's going to show up as a result of that. So we less than 2 months at this point have passed. We're less than 2/3 of the way through the deadline, and we are now 73% of the way through the book. So how long do you guys think the rest of this is going to take? We know if and when the Sanderlanche starts that things tend to happen fast. So do we think that there's going to be another month and some change in the last quarter of the book, or do we think that the 5 days that Sarene's going to be in Elantris are the entirety of the rest of the book is going to be covered, or somewhere in between? What do you guys think?
I can give it a week.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I there hasn't been like big time skips in this book that I feel like that we've seen. So for the sake of consistency, I would say that the most that the book would go is maybe right up onto the deadline, like maybe, the last chapter's the 0 hour, and then, some crazy thing saves them all. But I don't know.
Okay. For some reason, when you said some crazy thing saves them all, the first thing I thought is like Watchmen and the giant squid alien creature, which that would be a thing.
Sure.
They train squid in Darkhor.
Damn you, Sharktopus!
It's like a squid shows up with like 7 katanas or 6, whatever many legs the squid has.
6.
I'm here for Shu-Dereth. Wah! I don't know why the squid sounds like that.
Just because it does, man.
The tentacle monster.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Tentacle
it's
monster's
true.
back.
I'm
Oh,
still a
goodness.
little disappointed that there wasn't a tentacle monster.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ruin in Secret History was a little bit tentacle monster. Oh, it was kind of more spider legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like really, who prefers spiders to squid? Come on.
Oh man.
Yeah, nobody's like, let's go get some fried spider. I mean, come on.
Okay. I guess let's hit. We got a couple emails and one comment from YouTube that I wanted to touch on. So we'll do the YouTube one first. Waldo commented on one of the early Final Empire episodes saying, "This is great. I hope you keep going. You guys don't talk over each other. You all talk fast enough that I don't feel like I have to times the speed. The layout of you going into only a few chapters is great. I wish I'd known about this while I was reading. And the fact that you read quotes from the book. The questions you ask the first readers are great, and the responses are amazing. You all work together well, and mostly only talk when need, leaving no dead air." So that was nice. Thanks, Waldo. We appreciate your encouragement. Waldo also commented on one of the other episodes asking if we stopped after Well of Ascension, because those are the last episodes I've uploaded, and that was a while ago. No, we have not stopped. As anyone listening now, since we're doing Elantris, hopefully knows, I just have fallen way behind on uploading to YouTube, and I promise that I mean to do it. It's just hard to find the time.
Yeah. What he said.
But thanks for enjoying.
Yeah. I hope, Waldo, that you get to hear this someday. And then we got two emails. The first one is from Galon. "I don't have anything in particular to say other than words of appreciation. I really enjoy the recaps and thoughts about what's happening in the story. The Sanderlanche is a weekly must-listen. Without y'all, I wouldn't have any folded laundry at all, because I can incentivize some chores by getting to listen while I do them." Yeah, that's
The Sanderlanche. You can fold your laundry to it.
I hate to break it to you that my now 4-year-old still asks me to turn it back to the music if he hears your intro music, and then the actual talking part starts. Everybody's a critic. Keep
That's
up the
true.
good work.
Was this the person that emailed us a long time ago that says, "Oh, my 2-year-old loves your music"?
I
Or
don't
3-year-old.
remember. I would have to do some searching to try to figure that out.
Yeah, might be.
Could be. The last one email we have is from Angela 2. Been a while since we heard from Angela, or either Angela, I think. So,
Yeah.
"Hi, Sanderlanche crew. It's been a while. Let me assure you that despite that, I am still very much enjoying the podcast. I figured I would be writing in more often for Elantris, since it's one of my favorite Brandons, despite it being his early work. But I guess there isn't as much controversy that needs weighing in on as Mistborn had. I don't have much to say other than it finally happened. Someone has made a random joke and unknowingly nailed a predicament. I'm looking forward to whenever the big reveal happens.
Oh, come on. We've done that several times.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Congrats to Dak and Jamie on the new little one. I love hearing the random baby sounds in the background of the show.
Hey, well, there you go.
Yeah. Wasn't to the time of
coming.
next. Colo, Angela 2. There we go.
Thank you.
The little one's a star.
Yeah. I wish you'd sleep more.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
Yep.
Oh man. But I guess there hasn't been maybe as much strong. I mean, we haven't had somebody that we hate as much as Spook or even Orion to like
It's
rag
true.
on.
Nobody's polarized me so far.
We haven't had like as something as morally gray as what Breeze does and his influence of people. So yes,
Actually, I might inject that. There have been people that we hate as much as those people, but we're meant to hate them, as opposed to Spook and Orion, who we were actually supposed to like. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at Iodon. We trashed that guy, and everyone's
Oh,
like,
yeah. No one is going
I
to fight
guess
us on
that's true.
hating Iodon.
Yeah. I mean, Dak, I have to stop you, though, because really you said we hate as much. I don't think. I don't think I hate anybody in this book as much as old Spooky.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Totally. That is fair.
Thank you for the emails, y'all. If anyone would like to send us emails, the address is thesanderlanche@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all those sorts of places. I need to remember to post something on those places on Monday when the episode that we're skipping would be out, so everyone will have. We said it last week, but I still want to make sure we put something out. Be like, hey guys, by the way, no new episode this week. Music by Miracle of Sound.
Oh, damn.
Yes. Music by Miracle of Sound. Yes. Oh, no duh. So for next time, I knew there's something I was missing.
Oh yeah.
For next time, we are reading 7 chapters.
So is that a record?
Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah. 42 through 48.
Well, there you go.
I'm not even sure in Secret History we ever did that many segments at once.
No, I don't think so. It's funny though, because I could tell why we were reading so many chapters when I would get to it on my phone, because I read my books on my phone through my Kindle app, and it's like I would turn to the next chapter and it's like 3 minutes to complete this chapter. I was like, oh, this is short.
That's a short one. Yep. So 42 through 48, several short ones in there. So maybe we're reaching Sanderlanche territory. Things are happening quickly. Lots of quick cuts. Boom, boom, boom. No, I don't know.
One character there we're getting 3 chapters of, so.
Yeah. So we just got Sarene was the last one. So yeah,
So it'd be
Hrathen. Yeah.
Oh man, and then we'll finally be back to like the normal, like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah. For one episode.
Thanks for shitting on that.
Because the one after that is 5, so we'll get the 3 and then we'll get 2. So.
All right.
Oh man.
You get
So yes.
coming.
Come back next time. Everyone read those chapters. You 3 especially. The rest of y'all do what you want, I guess. But come back and we will discuss a lot of chapters. Wasing to the time of next. Colo?
Mine into a